Have you ever wondered where the concept of witches, those spellbinding characters of lore, originated from? Witches. Quite an enigmatic word, isn't it? Conjuring images of women with pointed hats, flying on broomsticks and brewing potions in cauldrons. But where did this image come from, and how has it evolved over time? Witches have long been a source of fascination and fear, woven into the fabric of our collective consciousness. These figures, often portrayed as conduits of supernatural powers, have been part of human culture for thousands of years. From the earliest legends of shamanistic figures in ancient societies, witches have been painted as both villains and heroes, embodying our deepest fears and desires. They are often seen as rebels, as disruptors of societal norms, as beings who dare to harness forces beyond our understanding. In this exploration, we'll unravel the threads of history, folklore, and pop culture that have woven together to create our modern perception of witches. We'll delve into the ancient roots of witchcraft, explore the shifting perceptions of witches during the Middle Ages and the Enlightenment era, and investigate how these historical figures have been reimagined in the modern world and popular culture. We'll also consider the treatment of those accused of witchcraft throughout history and how these accusations often reflected societal anxieties and prejudices. And we'll look at the resurgence of witchcraft in contemporary society, where it has become a symbol of empowerment and resistance for many. So why the fascination with witches? Perhaps it's their power, their mystery, their defiance of the ordinary. Or perhaps it's because witches represent a reflection of our own potential, the ability to shape our world, to influence others, and to tap into forces larger than ourselves. We invite you to open your mind, challenge your preconceptions, and join us on this journey of discovery. For as we delve into the past, we might just find that our understanding of witches is as complex and multifaceted as the witches themselves. Join us as we embark on a journey through time, tracing the fascinating evolution of witches. The genesis of witches dates back to ancient times, where they were both revered and feared. Our journey into the ancient roots of witchcraft takes us to the cradle of civilization, ancient Egypt. The Egyptians held magic in high regard, intertwining it with their daily lives and religious beliefs. Witches, or rather magicians, were seen as protectors, using their knowledge of the arcane to ward off evil spirits, heal the sick, and guide souls in the afterlife. From the Nile, we journey to ancient Greece, where the perception of witches was not as benevolent. The Greeks had a particular fascination with witchcraft, or pharmakia as they called it. Here, witches were often portrayed as elderly women who used herbs and potions to control others, or even to bring about harm. Figures like Circe and Medea from the Greek mythology are classic examples of how witches were perceived, powerful, yet dangerous. But it wasn't just Egypt and Greece, mind you. Across the globe, in various cultures and societies, there were figures akin to witches. In ancient Rome, the Strix, a nocturnal bird associated with witchcraft and dark magic, was feared. Over in the East, in ancient India, the Yakshinis were considered witch-like figures, known for their enchanting beauty and magical abilities. Despite the varied perceptions, one common thread remained. These ancient practitioners of magic were respected, yet feared. Their powers were seen as a double-edged sword, capable of both harm and healing. They were the mediators between the mortal world and the supernatural, the interpreters of dreams and omens, the healers of both body and soul. These ancient witches, however, were a far cry from the broom-riding, spell-casting figures we're familiar with today. But that's a tale for another time. For now, let's delve deeper into the shadows of history and see how the perception of witches evolved over the centuries. As we move into the Middle Ages, the image of the witch takes a darker turn. Let's take a step back into the Middle Ages, a time when superstition and fear were as common as bread and wine. The perception of witches during this period was far from flattering or empowering. Instead, it was steeped in dread, suspicion, and often outright terror. The Middle Ages were a time of massive upheaval and change, and amidst this chaos, the witch became a scapegoat for all that was mysterious or unexplainable. Witches were blamed for everything from failed crops to stillborn children, their supposed malevolent powers a convenient explanation for life's hardships. These were not the nature-loving, potion-brewing witches of ancient times. No, these were women, and sometimes men, believed to be in league with the devil himself. The witch of the Middle Ages was presented as a vile creature, performing dark rituals and casting evil spells. This fear of witches wasn't limited to whispers and rumors. It manifested in the form of witch hunts and trials that swept across Europe and America. These were not fair trials by any means, but rather a display of paranoia and hysteria. The accused were often subjected to brutal tests to prove their guilt or innocence. For instance, the infamous dunking stool, where a suspected witch was tied to a chair and dunked into water. If they floated, they were deemed a witch. If they sank and drowned, they were innocent. A grim catch-22, if ever there was one. Thousands of men and women lost their lives in these witch hunts, their only crime being different, misunderstood, or sometimes just at the wrong place at the wrong time. The fear was so pervasive that even mere accusations could lead to exile, torture, or death. The fear and persecution of witches during this period left an indelible mark on history. This era of witch hunts and trials remains one of the darkest chapters in human history, a chilling reminder of the power of fear and the lengths people will go to protect themselves from the unknown. With the advent of the Enlightenment era, attitudes towards witches began to shift. The Enlightenment era was a period of profound intellectual awakening, marked by a surge in scientific discovery, philosophical inquiry, and a deep skepticism towards the supernatural. As the fog of superstition started to lift, the world began to see witches in a new light. It was a period where reason was championed over tradition, and empirical evidence was valued above all else. The age-old beliefs that had fueled witch hunts in the medieval period were put under the microscope of rationality. The image of the witch as a malevolent sorceress, in league with dark forces, began to erode. The Enlightenment thinkers questioned the very existence of witches, challenging the irrational fear and paranoia that had led to the persecution of countless innocent individuals. Leading figures of the Enlightenment, such as Voltaire and Thomas Jefferson, publicly denounced witch trials as a manifestation of ignorance and superstition. They argued that the accusations of witchcraft were often based on hearsay and circumstantial evidence, lacking any solid grounding in reality. Their powerful words started a ripple effect, gradually changing public opinion on the matter. But it was not an overnight transformation. The Enlightenment era did not completely eradicate the belief in witches. Many people still clung to their deep-seated superstitions and fears. The witch, as a symbol, continued to evolve and adapt to the changing societal norms. They became less of a tangible threat and more of a metaphorical representation of the unknown, the mysterious, and the unexplained. In essence, the Enlightenment era did not banish the witch, but it did reshape her. It stripped away the layers of superstition and fear, revealing a more nuanced, complex figure. This was a figure that could be feared, yes, but also respected, studied, and understood. Despite the shift in perception, the image of the witch continued to evolve. In the modern world, witches have taken on a new form, far removed from their historical counterparts. They are no longer the wicked old hags of folklore or the feared and persecuted outcasts of the Middle Ages. Instead, they have been reborn, transformed into symbols of empowerment and rebellion against a society that too often seeks to suppress individuality and difference. Witchcraft in the 21st century has experienced a renaissance. It has become an expression of personal freedom and a means of connecting with the natural world. Modern witches use their craft to heal, to guide, and to explore the mysteries of existence. They are therapists, counselors, and spiritual advisors, using their skills and knowledge to bring comfort and understanding to those in need. In this new age of witchcraft, there is a focus on inclusivity and acceptance. Witches come in all shapes and sizes from all walks of life. They are not bound by gender, age, or race. They are united by a shared belief in the power of the natural world and the potential of the human spirit. Witchcraft today is not about casting malicious spells or consorting with dark forces. It is about tapping into the energies of the earth, the moon, the stars, and the elements. It is about using these energies to bring about positive change, both in the individual and in society as a whole. The resurgence of witchcraft is a reflection of the times we live in. It is a response to a world that often feels out of balance, a world in which we can feel disconnected from nature and from each other. In such a world, the practice of witchcraft offers a way to reconnect, to find balance, and to reclaim a sense of personal power. So the modern witch is not a figure to be feared. Rather, they are a beacon of hope and strength. They are a reminder that we all have the power to shape our own destiny, to heal ourselves and the world around us. Today, witches are seen less as figures of fear and more as symbols of empowerment and rebellion. From the Wicked Witch of the West to the enchanting witches of Harry Potter, witches have become a staple in pop culture. In the realm of literature, movies, and television shows, witches have swayed from the broom-riding, cackling figures of fear to complex, multi-dimensional characters. Our journey begins with literature, where witches have been an integral part of the narrative fabric for centuries. From the three witches in Shakespeare's Macbeth, who are depicted as manipulative and malevolent, to the charming and enchanting witches of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, literature has shaped and reshaped our perception of witches. In Harry Potter, witches are portrayed as powerful, wise, and often benevolent figures, a stark contrast to the stereotypical evil witch. Moving on to the silver screen, witches have had their fair share of the limelight. The Wizard of Oz gave us the iconic Wicked Witch of the West, a character that has since become synonymous with the traditional image of a witch. However, as time progressed, so did the portrayal of witches in cinema. Movies like Practical Magic and The Craft presented witches as relatable and complex characters, humanizing them in a way that was seldom seen before. Finally, in television shows, witches have enjoyed a renaissance of sorts. Shows like Charmed, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and the more recent The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina have placed witches at the forefront as protagonists and heroes. These shows have showcased witches as strong, independent women, breaking away from the age-old stereotype of witches as malevolent crones. The portrayal of witches in pop culture has not only entertained us, but it also has had a profound impact on how we perceive witches. It has humanized them, stripped away the fear, and replaced it with fascination and empathy. In doing so, it has transformed witches from feared figures of the past into intriguing and beloved characters of the present. In pop culture, witches have transformed from feared figures into beloved characters. The journey of witches through history is a tale of fear, persecution, transformation, and empowerment. This narrative is a fascinating study in human culture, beliefs, and societal norms. We begin with the ancient roots of witchcraft. The earliest depictions of witches were not of wicked, cackling women, but rather wise healers and spiritual guides. They were revered figures, often women, who understood the mysteries of the natural world and used this knowledge to help their communities. But as centuries rolled on, the perception of witches underwent a drastic shift. In medieval times, they became figures of terror, believed to be in league with the devil. This fear was not without consequence, leading to infamous witch hunts and trials across Europe and America. Thousands of innocent people, mostly women, were accused of witchcraft and met tragic ends. The Enlightenment era brought a new perspective. Rationality and science began to dispel the superstitions surrounding witches. Witchcraft accusations waned, and the witch became a figure of folklore, a relic of a bygone era steeped in fear and superstition. Yet the image of the witch was not to remain a dusty historical artifact. In the modern era, witches have seen a resurgence. Today, they are symbols of female empowerment, nature, spirituality, and rebellion against societal norms. Wicca and other neo-pagan movements have reclaimed the witch, transforming her into a figure of strength and wisdom. Witches have also found a home in pop culture, with a wide range of depictions from the wicked witches of fairy tales to the powerful and complex characters in contemporary fiction. They've become icons, their stories woven into our collective consciousness. The metamorphosis of witches mirrors societal changes, reflecting our evolving understanding of the world around us. From revered healers to feared outcasts, from figures of folklore to symbols of empowerment, the journey of witches through history is a testament to the fluidity of human culture and perception. As we continue to evolve, so too will the image of the witch, forever a fascinating reflection of our collective psyche. The story of witches is far from over, as their allure continues to captivate us. Their mystique has withstood the test of time, transcending centuries and cultures, and is deeply rooted in our collective psyche. The enduring appeal of witches lies in their embodiment of the unknown, the mystical, and the power that lies just beyond our understanding. They represent a defiance of norms, a rebellion against the established order, and the potential of what could be if we dared to tread the path less taken. Witches are the epitome of mystery and intrigue. They challenge our perceptions of reality and provoke us to question the world around us. It's their allure of the forbidden and the promise of hidden knowledge that continues to captivate our imagination. They provide a tantalizing glimpse into a world where the ordinary rules do not apply, where magic is real and anything is possible. As we continue to weave tales of witches, they remain as ever a testament to our enduring fascination with the mysterious.